Last year in September, the Gen Z and the youth of Nepal rose up in the most violent ways to ensure that the country is not governed in the old ways it was seen. And that is when they decided to change not just the legacy political parties but also bring a brand new prime minister. But today we are seeing the same Gen Z, same youth protesting against him. So the question is, what went wrong in 9 months? What happened that the Balen Shah, the known mayor, the famous prime minister brought up by youth in Gen Z of Nepal, is being protested against? And the most important question, why a chaotic Nepal is going always to be a worry for India? Hello everyone, welcome to Vajiram and Ravi's Flash News. My name is Shubhangi Singh, and in today's session we are going to understand that what happened that Nepal's Gen Z is again on street, and this time for the Prime Minister they elected, they decided that will bring change. So let us start from scratch and understand that what exactly happened. So when we are looking at this recent protest, the origin point, the trigger point was an incident. What happened? So there was a driver, and that driver set himself on fire after there was a confrontation with municipal authorities, and these municipal authorities, they left his motorcycle wheel locked. Now, once this incident took place, one Ganesh Nepali's life was taken away by himself. This was the key incident that triggered the widespread protests that are being seen. And where this protest is happening, this is happening at Singha Darbar, which is the Nepal's administrative headquarters. Now, when we are talking about this protest, as I said, this protest is directed towards the new Prime Minister of Nepal, that is Balen Shah. Now, Balen Shah has been celebrated not just as the Prime Minister when he defeated the two legacy political parties to become the mayor of Kathmandu, and that's when he rose into the picture during the Gen Z protest of September 2025, and now being the Prime Minister of Nepal. So you might be thinking, what went wrong? So for that, let us rewind a little bit again and look into for what protests happened in September 2025. The protest a year back was about high youth unemployment, how political parties and the rich are siding one side, then also how there was a social media ban, and that pented up the anger where the government was not being accountable, the government was not being responsible. And when you look at today's protest, you see the same things. That protesters are saying that we want accountability from the government. We want the government to respect human rights. We want justice for daily wage workers and also end the alleged excessive use of force authorities that has been seen since PM Balen Shah's time and also since he had been the mayor. So that is why Balen Shah has directly come into the picture of this very protest. Now the question might be, I have been repeating that Balen Shah became the image, the front person of the Gen Z protest, but who is he? So if we are looking at Balen Shah coming from a humble background where he was a civil engineer, gradually turned into rapper, and he emerged out as an independent politician. Now, as I mentioned, first it was him being the Kathmandu's mayor in 2022 against two legacy political parties of Nepal. And that is when he built the image, he convinced the people that he can run clean governance, anti-corruption, he will be the one who will not be corrupt, efficient administration will be there, and strong leadership which can address and understand the problem of youth as well. Because as of now, youth is the strongest, biggest part of Nepal's demography. And that is why later in 2025, he became Nepal's Prime Minister. And the reason Gen Z backed him was they thought the solution is coming to their problems. They thought that the political instability that continuously Nepal has seen, that will be done away with. The unemployment, high unemployment in Nepal, the migration from Nepal because of it, that will be addressed. And the traditional political parties, how they have been corrupt, how they have been exploiting, that will also stop. And the final nail in the pitch of Balen Shah was that he will bring reforms and this government will be accountable. So all of this with the strong social media connect from Balen Shah made him the right pick, and that's when he came over. But the moment he came over, what did we saw? The accountability, the rapid reforms that had been promised, they did come, but they came with excessive use of force. There was aggressive anti-encroachment drives that were against street vendors, informal markets, riverside settlements. So this is where youth said, this is not the way. We do not like the reforms to be increasingly harsh. They need to be humane. And that is why Gen Z and youth are again on the streets to address this. And furthermore, there is a legal controversy angle also involved, where when we are talking about municipal authorities, they are not responsible and their jurisdiction is limited. They are responsible for protecting municipal party, assisting civic administration and maintaining sanitation. They are not authorized to act independently or do coercive policing or crowd control at all. So these are the two parts which has been boiling the blood of youth in Nepal again. But as I said, the reason needs to be understood, that's one thing. But the second more important thing, especially for India, is why a chaotic Nepal is always going to be a problem for us. Especially when we look into this, we clearly understand that whenever Nepal has been unstable, it directly affects India. It not only affects in terms of security, it affects our bilateral relations, it affects our diplomatic image that is existing in Nepal and more. So if we look from the security factor, we have almost 1750 kilometers of open border. That open border can be the biggest contentious point which can be the reason of smuggling, human trafficking, cross-border crime, terrorism and more. And this is when China comes into the picture. China has been known for its string of pearls policy, but Nepal does not have a port where China can put up a pearl, but Chinese influence has yet been rising in Nepal. And when we are talking about India's strategic front, India's role when we are talking about Himalayan security strategy, Nepal is important. So in this context, whenever we will see that there is some instability in Nepal, this will be a problem and this will be a vacuum created where China can always enter. Why I am saying this is a problem? Because especially in last 5 years what we have seen that the nationalism sentiment has increased in Nepal, and unfortunately that has been directed against India. Especially when we are looking at Lipu Lake Kalapani land dispute, how that disputed region has been printed in the maps of Nepal on their currency, fueling direct, indirect attacks on India, Balen Shah putting up the map of Greater Nepal in the office and more. So this is where we are seeing that instead of coming as cooperative partners who share historic roti-beti ties, Nepal is trying to stand alone and mostly under influence of China. And that was also one of the reasons when youth revolted against. Youth did not want Nepal to be subordinate. Youth wanted Nepal to have a standalone image from India and from China. So the question here is, yes, we understand why unstable Nepal is a problem for India, but has Nepal's problem been solved? As of now, the answer remains no. Why no? Because what we are looking at is the change of Prime Minister. But the structural challenge, that remains. Political change has happened, structures are the same. High youth unemployment is present, dependence on remittances, people who are migrating outside sending forex, high dependence on that. Industrial growth is limited, political instability, institutional capacity is limited, urban congestion, informal settlements, and the cost of living is rising. So the core issue here is not leader, but the deeper governance as well as economic problems that exist in Nepal. And if India actually wants to come into the picture as a friend, as a cooperative neighbor, India needs to focus not on political parties but facilitating on bringing changes in this before China does. Now, what are your thoughts on this? Let me know in the comment section. I'll be leaving you here with a prelims practice question. Let me know the answer to this in the comment section. I'll be waiting for your answers. That was all from my side. Thank you so much.